Alright, welcome back, guys, and Happy New Year 2025, and welcome to Shaft from 1971. Here we see Detective John Shaft himself, played by Richard Roundtree, who died not that long ago in 2023, at the age of 81. As Shaft walks through New York, we hear the theme playing, performed by Isaac Hayes, and it does sound pretty good.
Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man? Shaft!
Sounds even better in the Shaft movie from 2000, which I will do next. And now Shaft talks as blind newspaper / magazine vendor, and finally directed by Gordon Parks, a prominent director during the 70s. After a long 5-minute intro, we see Shaft at a shoe shining shop, and the shoe shiner tells Shaft that two guys were looking for him. And of course, those two guys are Shaft's colleagues for the police station he works for, as the two pull into the shoe shining shop to meet up with John Shaft himself. And here we meet Vic Andrazi, played by Charles Coffey, or Coffey, I don't know how to pronounce the last name. And he wants to talk to Shaft about a new job. Alright, never mind. It's not these two guys that were looking for Shaft. Now that Vic's partner has gotten the cigars, Shaft has to leave suddenly.
To get laid, where the hell you go?
So Shaft now makes it to the shop where he spots the guy he's trying to catch, and now grabs him from behind and takes him back to his office at HQ. Now Shaft gets into a fight with two other guys, one already being there, while trashing his office, and the guy he caught rushes through the window. Now Shaft questions the other guy. Now the police commissioner, Mr. Leibowitz here, is concerned why Shaft pushed out the guy he's chasing. Shaft didn't push him, as Leibowitz is concerned why he did so, and Leibowitz doesn't believe him, so he leaves as Shaft and Vic talk about the guy who flew out of the window, and he says that he could be one of Bumpy Jonas's guys.
You ain't so black. And you ain't so white, baby.
So Vic Andrazi is desperate to know that this could trigger Bumpy Jonas, so Shaft leaves for now. Now Shaft goes to a local payphone to call up Bumpy Jonas himself, played by Moses Gunn, wanting to see him. So Shaft grabs some chestnuts and tries to grab a taxi. Wow, that's weird. I didn't know that still existed back then. So Bumpy Jonas and his guard are now at Shaft's office, sitting down, waiting for the good detective to arrive. And here comes Shaft walking in. And now Bumpy brings up Sims and Leroy, the two guys that were at Shaft's office that were supposed to kill him. At least now we know their names. And now Bumpy tells Shaft the main mission objective for this movie is to save Bumpy's kidnapped daughter. So Bumpy's willing to pay Shaft as much money as he can, but Shaft will do the job. And now he's back in town to look for a Ben Buford, who is part of a local gang. And probably knows a lot about the kidnapping of Bumpy's daughter. And he does this for the next 5 minutes or so, just asking everyone around where Ben Buford could be. And now Shaft goes to see a bunkie played by Antonio Fargas, another known blaxploitation actor from the 70s. If you've seen Foxy Brown, he plays Foxy Brown's brother, since Bunky knows where this Ben Buford is at, and just like every other bookie, he pretends to not know the villain to gain some cash, and tells him all the details where Ben Buford will be. And now Shaft is at his girlfriend's house, taking a bath, and we now see a passionate, well-rehearsed sex scene. The same night, Shaft is eating as Vic Andrazi meets up with him again, and tells him that he got laid, just like in the beginning. And as Shaft walks out, we see this guy spying on him as he takes a cab to his next destination, and we see Michael Caine's Get Carter also playing that same year in 1971, which was also released in 1971. I've seen that movie, it's okay. The Stallone remake wasn't that much better either. It's an okay movie. But all those Michael Caine fans out there will probably disagree with me. Alright, so Shaft makes it to his destination, helps out this hungry kid. And the same short, skinny guy is also there following John Shaft around as he walks upstairs to the apartment where Ben Buford is hiding at, along with 5 other guys. Okay, so alright, now that Shaft is in and sees Ben Buford and asks him about the kidnapping, but Ben doesn't know anything about it, and now we hear some shooting. So Shaft and Ben hide in his lady's apartment, as well as Ben's colleagues are killed instantly, and Ben gets a little crazy here. So Shaft and Ben make a run for it and spot the guy that was initially following Shaft. And now Andrazi's getting many phone calls about the shooting at Harlem as Shaft calls him up to tell Andrazi he was there too. Well, for his sake. Alright, so Ben is taken somewhere safe, probably another one of Shaft's girlfriend's apartments. Now Shaft is back at HQ to talk to Vic Andrazi as he tells Shaft that there's a big war between Bumpy's crime family and the Italian crime family, and has some pictures of some of the Italian mafia guys that are part of the kidnapping. Now Shaft calls up his first girlfriend, the one who he was shagging earlier.
I love you.
Yeah, I know.
So now Shaft wakes up Ben Buford and now brings him up to Bumpy's office with his main bodyguard sitting right there. Of course, his bodyguard doesn't like Shaft. His name is Willie, forgot to mention. And believe it or not, this guy was the corner man and the assistant coach for boxing legend Muhammad Ali back in the 70s. There's a little trivia there for you guys, there for all you Muhammad Ali fans out there. And now the two walk into Bumpy's office and they know that the Italians have kidnapped his daughter, which Bumpy already knew, making Shaft do all the unnecessary work. And now Bumpy wants Ben's guys to help out Shaft to get Bumpy's daughter back, as Ben wants 10 grand for each guy he brings along with him for this mission, including the 5 dead guys that were killed in the shooting from the other night at the apartment where Shaft found him the first time, and Bumpy just says yes right away since he's loaded. So he leaves off Ben to tell him that this will be done under Shaft's instructions, and now pays his kid Billy to turn off the lights in his apartment, back when you could trust people with your personal belongings or personal anything. And now Shaft is at some resto bar where one girl already has eyes for Shaft, as well as the 2 guys that were shown in the pictures of the many guys involved in the kidnapping that are part of the Italian mafia, which was shown by Vic Andrazi earlier, sitting right there. And now Shaft pays the bartender to take over to talk to the Italian mafia members, and now the bartender is back to get some drinks.
I told her I was gay, and you know what she said? She straightened me out.
And now we know the girl's name is Linda, and of course Shaft's wingman here has no problem with Linda, or no problem with Linda's friend. So Shaft is back to talk to the 2 Italian mafia members and just give them more drinks. And now he grabs a phone to call Vic Andrazi and now talks in code and tell him that he found the 2 guys from the pictures he showed at the station and will send a car with 2 cops. And the short one here is a little suspicious that Shaft may be a cop. Kind of looks like that cartoon character, that mafia guy from Bugs Bunny, I forget his name. And here come the cops that Andrazi sent arresting the 2. And now it's John Shaft is with Linda as and now he wants to go take a shower, and now she joins him. Alright, next morning Shaft is at Vic Andrazi's and now walks in to talk to the 2 mafia guys wanting to know where Bumpy's daughter is. And we also see the guy who spat on Shaft with a band-aid on his head. And now this guy writes down the time he will meet Shaft tomorrow to meet up with him, since they can't talk about the kidnappings because the mafia could be listening through the walls, or the place could be bugged. And now he's back at home as Linda is still there and wants to get out. And now he calls up Ben Buford again.
Hey, baby, please close the door, huh?
Hey. Close it yourself, shitty.
So he calls up to ask for the 2 men from Ben for tomorrow. And now he grabs a gun from the freezer, and here comes knocking Vic Andrazi. And he is concerned that the 2 Italian guys, Carmen and Patsy, must have given away info about Bumpy's daughter, and tells him that Mr. Leibowitz had his office bugged. Yeah, so it wasn't the mafia, it was actually Leibowitz that got the office bugged, and knows somewhat what is going on about the kidnapping of a local black mob boss. But Vic is supposed to take Shaft with him back to the station, so he pretends that he never saw him and just leaves. And with this.
Close it yourself, shitty.
And now calls up someone to tell him that he will be at the Cafe Reggio, and now changes. And now he gets to the Cafe Reggio and waits for someone and asks for an espresso. And here is that someone, another Italian mafia member, as they exchange some nice things, as they exchange some nice words about each other, which I won't play. Watch it on your own. Pretty vulgar stuff here.
Excuse me.
Thanks, baby.
So they leave the Cafe Reggio as Ben Buford and his guys are sticking to the plan to be led to Bumpy's kidnapped daughter. As Ben Buford is telling his guys to go different ways for looking out, as Shaft has now pointed his gun at this guy and breaks in, and we see Bumpy's daughter, Marcy. And now Shaft wants Marcy to go and run away, but she can't. Alright, so the two mobsters shoot at Shaft, including killing their own guy, and tell him that he has 24 hours till this all gets worse. Till war started between Bumpy Jonas and the Italian Mafia. And now Shaft is shot, as well as the two guys are killed, leaving the remaining guy running away with Marcy as Ben Buford is looking around, and he spots Shaft on the ground. Okay, so Ben brings Shaft back to his girlfriend's house and tells her to call up Sam, which is like a local doctor, but he's not licensed or anything. He just knows his ways around the medical room. So Sam is here and takes out the bullet that was inside Shaft. Now Sam and Ben leave as Shaft calls up Bumpy to tell him to send cabs to pick up Ben Buford's guys for the mission. And now we are at the hotel as two of Ben's guys are already inside, as they take over the roles of the hotel staff to get Marcy out from this hotel where she is being held captive, as these two Italian guys are already there watching the room. And now Vic Andrazi and some other police officers at the scene of the crime where Shaft got shot. Now Ben Buford is here posing as a hotel waiter as one of the Italian mob members asking for 2 coffees and a Coke.
Straw. You heard me. Straw.
Alright, so there's about 12 minutes left of the movie as Shaft instructs Ben Buford and his guys on what exactly is to be done to get Marcy out. So Ben brings back the drinks while Shaft takes the outside way in to get into the apartment and now take this elevator operator's uniform away. Back when elevator operators were needed. Now these days people are so lazy to even press the button on the elevator. It's insane. Too many distractions today. So Shaft and this guy come in from the top part of the hotel and grab a rope to get in easier, and it's the same guy that did take Marcy along with him after his 2 guys got shot at the previous hotel, and he hears a sound. Okay, so Shaft and this guy take out a roll of paper to use it to burn something, or to use it to light it up, to break into, and takes out a bottle of gas, which happens to be gin. But the next bottle he has is gasoline. Now tying a rope around him and grabs a cigarette as all these guys pretending to be the hotel staff headed to the room and light up the roll after hearing the signal, throwing the lit up roll of paper into the window. Shaft escapes with Marcy, and now they kill all of the remaining Italians, leaving the hotel empty with no staff as Ben Buford's guys have made a run for it as they run into the cabs that were sent by Bumpy, and they drive off, leaving Shaft fast-pacing towards the phone booth. And the cops are here. Once again, not on time.
Looks like you're gonna have to close it yourself, shitty.
And there you have it, Shaft, 1971. Cool, groovy, cool movie, as there are 2 other movies in the Shaft series. Shaft's Big Score from 1972 and Shaft in Africa from 1973, which I've not seen yet. So these movies are kind of like Dirty Harry, but he never had a son like Shaft over here, as you'll see soon. And Shaft from 2000, the Bloodline sequel. I don't know why people think of this movie as a remake of the original Shaft from 1971. It's completely different. Thanks for watching once again. I will see you soon in the next episode with Shaft from 2000. Check out this Shaft from 1971 if you haven't yet. Take care, see you soon, and watch away.